The Center for Educational Media and the College of Education at Middle Tennessee State University are proud to offer professional development to K-12 educators in Tennessee through our online video library. These videos are aligned with standards set by the Tennessee Department of Education. For more professional development videos, check out our website at cem.mtsu.edu.
It's time to get down to what we're here for. So, one of the nominees we had was Dr. Wendy Wilkerson from Tullahoma City. We heard great work was going on there, and when I called Dr. Wilkerson and said, "You've been nominated," well, she started talking about the work and said, "We've got some great work going on in our middle school." One of the topics was how gen ed teachers and SPED teachers work together. That's a frequent request in the topics that come to us. And so she said, we've got a great example. Now, y'all, since we're a media production center, sometimes we actually go to the schools with our cameras and capture some of what's happening in the classroom. And that's what we did in Tullahoma City. So, Ms. Jennifer Munsey and Dr. Wilkerson, thank you for being here, and I will give the floor to you.
Okay.
And you can complete your introduction.
Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? First of all, I want to make sure that everybody has access. We're very blessed to be here today, and it is a blessing to have been nominated to present to you today. The title of our presentation is No Confusion, Inclusion, and the goal today is to hopefully give you an example of a seamless example of inclusion, but also talk to you about the things that have happened before that lesson. You'll see what's happening during the lesson. Okay, so the first thing is we need to talk about ourselves because you don't know anything about us except that we both work for Tullahoma City Schools. So when Miss Munsey's slide comes up, she'll talk about a few things about herself.
I am Jennifer Munsey. This will be my 25th year teaching science. I am certified in biology, earth science, chemistry, and physics. Right now I'm teaching middle school for 8th grade, and I have been sort of unofficially appointed the middle school lead for science since we have new standards coming in. A little bit about me. I am married to a veteran who served in Afghanistan and Iraq. I love to bake. Her son is the recipient of many, many baked items. We're outdoorsy. We hike, we kayak. I'm a dog mom, and I like CrossFit. I enjoyed beating myself up after school every day, so.
Okay, briefly, she talked a little bit about her education. We kind of feel like there should be a building at MTSU named after our family because we've had so many family members come through MTSU. So that's just a little side note there. But I also spent a lot of time in Kentucky because when I was going through grad school, that's who had all the money. So that's how I ended up going to Kentucky because they had lots of money to give because of their lottery and all of the things. I'm actually a speech language pathologist by trade, so you may see some of that coming out in the way I communicate and things like that. That's my husband, David. We've been married 15 years today. We made it. I wasn't sure we were going to make it. That's my son, Preston, when he had the alpaca hair. He's had a trim since then. That's our dog, Peanut Butter. He loves his duck. And then I love the beach. So we just think it's important that, we're real people. We're not just up here giving you facts and things about education. We're real people, and we do this every day. And I want you to know that I chose the best educator in our district, and it just happens to be my sister. But when we started this conversation, it was a no-brainer. I knew exactly who I wanted to choose to come and present with me, and you'll see why when you watch the video. Okay. Let me say thank you too if you're one of the people who has volunteered to help us out during this mock lesson. So we're going to do a mock lesson. What this is we've designed this to be confusing. We've designed this to be interactive. Because when you come to PD, if you're like me, I'm spending a day out of my district. I was blessed to get a professional day, but raise your hand if you're not really at work. Do you want to have a good time? Of course you do. So let's have some fun. So thank you to those people. You have likely been in classrooms where it has gone really well, but you've probably also been in classrooms where we could have done that better. And here's the things we could have done better. So this is an example of things that didn't go so well here at first. So after the simulation, we'll show a video of a seamless inclusion class, a lesson, and then we'll talk about some strategies that worked really well that you'll see. So you should have something with a disability described on it, a piece of paper. Those disability definitions come straight from the Tennessee Department of Education. There are 16 disability categories. Who's Gen Ed? Raise your hand. Gen Ed teachers, raise them high. Wow, we're heavy SPED. Okay. So I'm assuming you're SPED. Raise your hand if you're SPED. Okay. So you're very familiar with these 16 disability categories. I did not print all of them because I figured we're probably heavy SPED. I wasn't sure, but you already know these. But if you can, take just a minute, read that disability card, because I really want you to think about that while we're going through the mock lesson. And I did not represent all of the disabilities in this, so just know that. So if you have a certain student that you normally work with, think about that student. I want this to be meaningful for you. Okay, the lesson that we're going to kind of practice together, this mock lesson, it comes from the, make sure I say this correct, Open SciEd Science Curriculum. And that's one that TDOE is about to roll out this year. Is that correct? It's an option. Okay. So when we pretend, she's actually in real life, but she's also pretending today to be the 8th grade science teacher. I am the SPED assistant who's assigned to her class, and I may or may not be of high quality. I'm just saying, okay? So pretend right now you're in 8th grade. Take yourself back to 8th grade. What were the behaviors that you may have exhibited during your class? And you might just see some of those behaviors here in a minute. Unlike our class today, that is mostly special education, the class that she actually taught for the video you will watch, correct me if I'm wrong, was 51% students without IEPs, 49% students with IEPs. So when you watch the video, just kind of keep that in mind. But we're heavy SPED today. Not sure we meet the Gen Ed requirement for the course code here. Okay, so I'm going to change gears, and I'm now the special education assistant.
Good morning, 8th grade. We are starting a new set of lessons this morning. We are going to talk about natural selection. In our standards, this is the Life Science Standard 4. So this is the only life science standard we do in 8th grade. Take a minute and find your cow picture. There are 2 cows on the picture. If you notice, these cows look very different. Take a minute on your own.
You should be looking at
1 minute.
this paper.
Think about how these cows are different.
This is what she's talking about. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Munsey?
Are you
Yes.
sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Eat both cows. We need to look at both cows.
This is the paper. That's the lesson.
Miss Munsey, which cow?
Both cows. The top cow and the bottom cow. What you need, baby?
Miss Munsey?
Yes.
Miss Munsey?
This
Which
is what
cow?
she's talking about.
Both cows. Top cow and bottom cow.
Why are y'all looking at me?
Miss Miss Munsey, which
Just
cow?
doing my job.
Which cow?
The white cow and the brown cow.
That's the lesson.
Now that you've thought about it yourself, take a minute and talk to your partner about the differences between the two cows.
Close your Chromebook. Now.
Okay, let me help you find your cows.
Miss Munsey,
You gotta do something, baby.
That is not the lesson. Don't act like you know me.
I think concentrate.
I'm
I don't know
sorry,
what y'all
we're
are
gonna work
doing.
on that.
But this is the lesson.
Are you missing a
This is
cow?
the lesson. She's wrong.
You can have my cow.
I'm the teacher today. Me. Kiddos, let's get it together for Miss Munsey. Can we try today? Maybe?
Work with.
Can I go to the office now?
What you need?
I just want to go to the office.
Let's stay here for a little while and look at our cow.
Look, step aside. I will get him. Do you want to go to the office?
Yes, I do.
Let's go.
Okay.
Get up.
You want to go with him?
Now.
He's not going anywhere. Dr. Wilkerson's
Let's
going
go.
to take care of it.
Do I need to hold your hand?
I don't know.
He has a cow.
I'm not putting up with your mouth.
But does he have cows?
Now,
Where's he going?
cows are not the only animals that are extra muscled. Look at your other pictures. You have fish, cattle, rabbits, mice, and dogs.
Hey, what about the tulip page I handed out? Is that not what we're talking about?
We're not ready for tulips yet.
But Miss Munsey, I don't want my fish to have extra muscles.
Well, some fish do.
But I don't want my fish to have extra muscles. Can you make them not have extra muscles, please?
That'll be a lesson later about how we genetically modify the fish.
Okay, can we have a timeout, please? I'm about to have a come apart.
Okay, time out.
Please, just for 5 minutes. And if we need to step outside, I don't
Miss
think
Munsey,
that's
my
the
dog looks
teacher.
weird.
Okay, timeout. I can't do this anymore.
Are you quitting?
I think I might.
Sometimes I want to too. You just gotta keep plugging.
I don't think I have it in me. I'm sweating. Okay, I think we're good now. Let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, so can I help you? You need to go back to your seats.
I don't want to.
It's okay, it's time.
I don't want to.
Our lesson's over. It's okay. I love you. Okay, so give us some feedback. How did you feel with all that commotion going on? Just shout it out, raise your hand, whatever. Real life. Chaotic. Anybody else?
A little scared came from over here.
A little scared of me? Do you think that happens in some of our classrooms? Ouch, right? We should not have students feeling afraid or intimidated of us. How sad is that? How much preparation or poor preparation went into this mock lesson? Not very much. Do you feel like I knew you as students? Did I care? No. What message did that send you? Say it again. Survival. Could you learn anything? What not to do. You feel like you don't matter. Who said that? Doesn't matter. That is such a dangerous place, is it not? Students should never feel the way that you just felt. And I promise you it happens, and we have to stop it. Stop it. And hopefully today we can help you help those people who maybe are not doing a great job planning. Those people who are maybe not coming into the classroom with the right attitude because they can't self-regulate themselves. What a problem for us. We've got to get better. We've got to get better. So enough of the negative example. Let's move toward a positive example. Let's talk a little bit about special education. I know we're heavy SPED, so bear with me. So a little bit about SPED law, rule, policies, and expectations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about IDEA and Section 504. In my district, I am the special education director, but I'm also over Section 504. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Sometimes I'm like, but it is what it is. I see why they put those together. So a person's disability is not necessarily something that you can see. It doesn't always stand right out at you. And the crazy thing is, if you look at the Tennessee Department of Education website, you can actually see that most disabilities that we recognize, and really most disabilities that exist, you can't tell by looking at a person that they have a disability. So when people think about disabilities, what's the first thing that comes to their mind sometimes? Physical. They're in a what? A wheelchair. But y'all, the number one disability category in Tennessee is specific learning disability. Did you know that? Can you tell by looking at somebody they have SLD? What's number two? Does anybody know? I think it's language impairment. Does that make sense? With the high caseloads. Do we have any SLPs in here? What's your caseload? It's a lot, isn't it? And sometimes it's which came first, the chicken or the egg? ADHD or language impairment? And it's very difficult. And we can play that game all day long, but we've got to do what's best for kids. And we do, right? We do. The other thing is, if you've met one person with autism, guess what? You've met one person with autism. Because I might have autism, and I may really, really like boxer dogs. You might have autism and have an aversion to boxer dogs, right? So if you met one person with one disability, that's all you've met. That's it. Don't sell people short either. Look at them as individuals. So a little bit of history. I don't want to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but we all know as far back as the 1800s, there's been marginalization of people with disabilities, probably long before then. In the 1920s is when we really started seeing some movement. It's ironic that her husband's a veteran because the disability laws actually originated with that. So in World War I, our veterans came back and they had disabilities. And they're like, hey, I could use some help. So that's when the government started helping them out. Improvements came along with technology, government assistance. Our veterans started becoming more self-reliant and self-sufficient, which is always important for people. That's part of our self-worth, right? So then in the 40s and 50s, the World War II veterans increased pressure. So the 60s brought on the Civil Rights Movement. Then we had the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. That was the first disability legislation that provided equal opportunity. Raise your hand if you're familiar with 504. That's it. That's where it came from. I'm not sure people know that, and that's why that's part of our presentation. It's important that you know the history of how things got started so you have a better understanding of why. I'm a why person. If you tell me why, you've got me 100%. If you can't give me an explanation why, it's going to be hard to get my buy-in, okay? 1975 is when we had the Education Act for all handicapped children, and that was renamed in 1990. So that's really the history of where our disability education laws came from. Every person working in the school system has the responsibility to follow these laws. What do these laws really say? Well, IDEA says we have to provide every student with a free, appropriate public education. You may have heard that called FAPE. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because I'm looking at a room full of SPED. But we have to provide it at no cost to the student. Do we have to give them the best education? No, we don't have to get them the Cadillac. There's actually a case law that refers to that. You don't have to give them the best of the best, but you do have to meet their needs. We have to educate every student in the least restrictive environment to the maximum extent appropriate. Our attorney is great. He's taught me a lot. He doesn't always give me the why. I need the why. So I push him, give me the why, okay? And he's learned that about me, and I think he appreciates that. But what he will tell you is the LRE is the gen ed setting, period. Because a few years ago it was, well, for this kid, that's not really their LRE. That's not where they're the most successful. he pushes us and he says, you better get them in there if you can, because that's what the law says. We also provide services in special education on a continuum. The continuum ranges from consultation. Maybe the SLP or the occupational therapist, the physical therapist, is just consulting with the gen ed teacher. That's usually twice a month, right? Hopefully those are for students who have kind of weaned off those heavy services. I think this is correct when I say the most restrictive setting is home or residential placement. And we have some students who have to have that because medically they can't come to school. They just can't do it. And sometimes that's just what we have to do. Inclusion goes right back to FAPE and LRE, and of course the continuum. And we have to provide that inclusion if at all possible. Inclusion is not successful if you don't have the staff to do it, or a gen ed teacher who is open to learning more about SPED. The other thing that I want to make sure I say today is you have to have good relationships. You have to have good relationships with gen ed and SPED, because if you don't have that, it's never going to work. So as we transition to the video that you're going to watch, it's less than 10 minutes. I think it's more like 8, just so you know. You're going to see good teaching. You're going to see good use of scaffolds. You're also going to see some accommodations. You're only going to see about half of the class. Is that correct? Because you have to have permission when you do a presentation like this to show those students. So half or 3/4 gave us permission. So there's another whole half to the classroom. We want to make sure you understand that. You're going to see Ms. Munsey teaching a lesson. She's ensuring that accommodations are met. You're also going to see a special educational assistant in the video. And we'll talk a little bit about this after you watch it.
We're going to go back to where we were before lunch, develop a whole group record of what we agree on and competing ideas. So here is what we had before lunch. Why do these animals get bigger muscles? You guys said genetic mutation was a possibility. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Okay, we know about mutation. We know that it's possible. This could be why the animals look funny. Okay, different environments. Could the animals be adapting to a different location? Okay, I see nods. Could they eat different things? Okay, genetic mutation and genetics, do we agree that's kind of the same? Okay, exercise and activity level. Some of them might exercise more and get bigger muscles. Overstimulated, who had that one? Okay, so am I understanding with overstimulated, they're being extra worked? Okay, and then overbred was another one. They keep breeding traits. What do we call that? Do you remember?
Asexual breeding.
Not asexual reproduction. What did you say? Crossbreeding. What is the name for that type of selection?
Oh, natural.
Not natural.
Handpicked or
What's the opposite of natural? Artificial. Artificial selection, right? Do you think animals like cattle come in just 2 sizes, extra big and regular? Okay, I hear no's and I see people shaking their head. Open your silver folder. One side of your folder has pictures of cattle. What are cattle? Cows. The other side has tulips. Take out your cows. Take out your cows.
all of them?
Yes, all of them. You have photographs of different cattle that we're going to use to find additional evidence to support or refute the initial argument, whatever your initial argument was up there a minute ago, that you made with your partners. Take out your cattle pictures, spread them out, okay? Using muscles, put them in groups. You are going to have 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, so we got a comparison, right?
Okay, I heard the word average. Are we doing like extra big, average, small, or typical?
No.
Oh, we're just doing regular and stronger.
So you're doing 2. Regular, so you're saying average and Extra large. Okay. How can you tell though? Do you have a reference?
I used to work at a friend of mine's farm that has a gate that.
But do you have anything on here that is giving you a comparison to human height?
This one's taller than most.
Where's the human though? If you're talking about human height, you don't have a human, right?
Okay.
No, I think that this one's smaller.
Are you passing it over and letting them look at it too?
I think medium. Yeah.
Okay.
Aiden, you got any input? What do you think? You agree with who?
Yeah, but like medium's kind of big.
With the ladies in your group? Okay, so you're saying the muscles are based on can I see the bones or not?
Yeah, and like kind of they look.
Okay.
And I noticed that too. It has muscles dripping down. Whatever.
But we got the whole group agreeing, right?
That's the muscles.
He's more beefier than that one, so that'll be bigger.
I can see these being.
What are we looking at, Vera?
Looking at the different sizes, like the muscle span.
Yeah. Somewhat average just goes to how it looks.
But this one's small.
Males.
What part of the cow?
The muscles.
The muscles.
Oh, so that's how we're supposed to be doing it. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So we're focusing on the muscles. Does that help?
That's the one that we just did one time.
So would that be the smaller one or bigger one?
That's gonna be
All right, just a reminder. We're basing our size comparison on what? Sorry? But what about your cow? The muscles. That's our focus, right?
That's what it
is.
You're writing on the picture? What does that say? Reference.
What do we all think about this one when it comes to categories?
All right, Chanel's group. How did you divide up your cattle?
By the bulkiness and muscles.
By bulkiness and muscles. How many categories did you give for your cows?
3.
3, and what did you choose?
Small, medium, and large.
Small, medium, and large. So you guys decided extra bulky and typical was not enough. We want to get a little more detailed. Okay? Braden's group.
We did the same.
You did the same. Exactly the same. Small, medium, and large.
Yeah.
Okay? Based on
Their muscles.
muscles, size of muscles, or muscle type, or what?
The size of muscles.
Size of the muscles. All right, Jace's group.
We all decided below average, average, and then above average / maybe genetically modified.
Okay, just looking at muscles, not worrying about genetics. Average, below average, and above average. So 3 classifications again, based on muscle size. Why would we want 3 categories instead of 2 maybe? Braden?
Because maybe that a cow that's on extra bulky and stuff, maybe he's not as bulky as it is, but still has bulk.
So maybe he doesn't fit as an extra bulky or a typical?
Yeah.
Okay, do we agree? James?
I say my opinion is because normally there ain't no just 2 sizes of cow.
Okay.
When it comes to sizes of muscle.
Okay, so you felt like 2 wasn't enough.
Yes.
We need a little more detail for a 3rd category.
Yes.
Okay, put your cows back in your folder. Take out your flowers. Cows back in the folder. Take out the flowers. The flowers don't have names, they have numbers, okay? Choose a trait that the tulips have. Organize the photos by variations of that trait. So I'm not giving you a trait this time. I'm not telling you classify cattle by muscle. I'm telling you look at your tulips, pick a trait. What's another word for trait?
Characteristic.
Characteristic. Choose one and classify your tulips on what you chose. Okay? 10 minutes to start and we'll see where we are. Okay, Chanel, what traits did you guys use to classify your tulips?
We did bloomed and unbloomed and like
how they were bright and not dark.
Okay, so pick one. Tell me about one. Either bright and dark or bloomed or not bloomed.
Bloomed.
All right, so 2 classifications, bloomed, not bloomed, or did you have an additional classification?
What does that mean?
Just it was bloomed or not?
Oh. Partially bloomed. Partially bloomed.
Okay, so you had 3 classifications, bloomed, partially bloomed, and not bloomed. Okay, were you able to get everything in a classification? Okay, Jace.
We just decided on 2 categories. One was multicolored, and then the other one was simple.
Single colored? Yeah. Okay, single colored and multicolored. Everything fell into one of those categories.
Yep.
Okay, so you recorded where you classified each tulip. We talked about color. We talked about bloomed or not bloomed.
I just want to hear some feedback from you. What are the things that you saw? What were the collaborative things that were going on? Anybody?
They included everybody.
They included everybody. Somebody said something about directions.
Repeating the directions and being specific for what she wanted.
Yes, several times, right? Yes.
The directions were clear, but there was also scaffolding already embedded in the lesson.
Say that one more time.
The directions were clear, but there was also scaffolding embedded in the lesson.
Directions were clear, but scaffolding was also included in the lesson. Were you? That's all? Okay. And then we had directions were repeated. Remind me of what yours was. They included everybody.
They included everybody, especially the little boy who kept putting his head down. They'd be like, hey, what's your thoughts?
Very good. Very good. Did you notice the special education EA? Was he doing everything for the students? Was he really doing anything for the students? He was guiding, he was prompting. You're exactly right. I also want you to think about Miss Munsey's proximity to students. When you have close proximity, what does that do to you as a learner? It's like, oh, she's standing right here, right? Or I at least might need to look at her, right? And I noticed you picked up your pencil. You're like, oh, maybe I should write something down, right? But it's funny because being a special educator, you think about, gosh, if that teacher would just get in close proximity to those kids, it would get their attention. It would get some momentum. It would get them moving in the right direction. So have those conversations with those gen ed teachers. But what do you have to do first?
Model it.
Model it before you model.
Build rapport with them.
Say it again.
You're building rapport and a relationship with them.
Yes. You can't walk into the classroom. Thank you, Dr. Glenn. You cannot walk into the classroom and be like, hey, I'm helping you today, and this is how it's going to go. Because how does that feel?
They're not going to like it.
You're like, nope.
Yeah.
Not today and not any other day. You've got to spend time with people and get to know the people you work with. Even maybe that science teacher who's like, who are you and why are you here? Right? Not her, just saying. So try, and it's hard. You've got to put time into it. But if you don't spend time around the people you're working with outside of the classroom, the kids pick up on that. I do want to point out something else about the video. Was this one of their better days behavior-wise or worse?
Oh, way better.
Yeah.
Why?
On any given day, one of these children will fall on the floor and cry.
And we had that. Thank you very much for that.
One of them really does not like anyone, adult, student, EA, whatever, telling him he is incorrect. He handled that well in the video. You couldn't really tell.
It was a good day.
It was a good day.
This is not your favorite class, is that correct?
They're very difficult to teach.
So I want you to have that in mind, but what was so interesting, like I'd like to do a little study on this, bringing video into the classroom, especially in middle school. Oh, I'm on the camera, I'm gonna be so good today. Like that helped her so much during this lesson. It was amazing because we talked about it when we were prepping and I was like, I know those kids, those 2 kids, and that is not normal. But we think they were performing a little bit for the video, which we appreciate because, you know, it took some coordination to get MTSU to come down and, you know, we're praying, please let them be good today and all the things. And
for reference, they were the first 2 to bring back the forms, if that tells you anything.
They were excited. They were excited about the video. So in talking about just good teaching and special education, we wish every teacher did all of the things that she did, right? But I do think that curriculum helps a little bit. It's very scripted.
The new science curriculum, you will see a big difference this year. All of the options.
And then we know these are actual accommodations from some of the students' IEPs that were in that class. I'm not going to read these word for word, but as you well know, do y'all use Google Classroom? Does any district use Google Classroom? So I asked her, what happened prior to this lesson? And feel free to chime in if I leave anything off. The supervising special education teacher has access to her Google Classroom. How easy is that?
The EAs do too.
The EAs do too, which is even better. As a director of special education, I love that. Because if I'm the adult trying to support my students, if I don't have access to what they're going to be taught, that's strike one. How can I help? I don't know what's coming. I can't prepare them for what's coming. How easy is that? Get access to it ahead of time, okay? If you're not already doing that, talk to your technology department. I'm assuming that's how it works in your district. Our technology department is phenomenal ensuring access for all students, and I love that. Other accommodations of students who were actually in this class, here are some of those accommodations. Are you going to have accommodations on every single assignment in every single class? No, there's no way to do that. But if it's in the IEP, we have to do it. But I hope that you recognized some of these. Another thing that I think she did really well was wait time. And that's very difficult. And that does not come naturally to a lot of our teachers, even our SPED teachers sometimes. It's difficult for us to wait because we don't like awkward silence. She did a great job of that. Several times in the video, I was like, okay, kid, come on, somebody say something. And that's tough. It's hard to be patient and wait those students out. But again, she did a great job with that. And that's not an accommodation, that's just good teaching. And so when you have the combination of really good teaching and a special education assistant who understands their assignment, but also the assignment the students are doing, look how beautiful that can be. Was that not beautiful? Was it perfect? No. It was pretty seamless though. So tell me a few things that were also done before the lesson. We kind of talked about this. I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
SPED teachers and EAs get a calendar a month ahead of time. When I make my plan, I share my calendar with the SPED teachers and the EAs so that they know, okay, on this day, this is what I can expect when I go into that room. One of the EAs that wasn't in the video has been with me for 3 years or 4 years. We go back and talk about, okay, we're getting ready to do this activity. Think about last year. What did not go well? What do we need to fix before we do this activity again? I sat down with both of the EAs, there were actually 2 in there, only one of them was on video, and said, this is a new lesson, we haven't done it before, we're gonna be videoed, let's walk through this before the kids get in here. So that was kind of the prep for this one.
A lot of work went into it ahead of time. And that's the ideal situation. So I just want a show of hands, how many districts currently have collaborative planning occurring? That's where Gen Ed and SPED are together. Raise your hand. Consistent, collaborative planning. Wow, look around. What district?
CMCSS, Clarksville.
I want to talk to you before you leave.
For CMCSS, I would say that it's school-based, depending on our administrators, how they set up our planning times and how they set up our meetings to work with our grade levels. Some schools have it and some schools don't, but for the most part, the schools I have been in have really good collaborative planning time.
Thank you for sharing that. It's important that people here today hear that it is happening, even if it's happening in pockets, because that's the encouragement piece of the PD. We had another district back here. What district are you with?
TDOC.
Where is that?
It's all across the state. We work for correctional education.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes. We have bi-weekly collaborative planning meetings with the special education teacher and the general ed teachers to come up with ways in order to to pass whatever tests that they need to test for the next upcoming months in order to graduate with their high school diploma equivalency.
That's
so
great.
it's a little bit different than public education, but that's what we do is for collaborative education or collaborative planning.
That's great. It's good to know that that's happening with Department of Corrections. That's great. So before I go to the next slide, because I don't want to share too much, because the next part, I'm going to ask you to write down some things. So on those sticky notes that you had, and just raise your hand if you don't have, you need to have 3 sticky notes per person. Do you want to hand some out? They're over there in that box. So just raise your hand if you don't have any, and Miss Munsey will get you some. But before I go to the next slide, I want to share some things with you about Tullahoma City. We do have a lot of room for improvement, but we do have a lot of good things happening. We have a new director of curriculum and instruction and assessment, and I believe she is starting her 2nd or 3rd year. I want to say it's her 3rd, but it might only be her 2nd. She is working very hard. She has developed an instructional leadership team. She has invited me to be a part of that. And of course, I'm so excited because the more I can learn about curriculum, the better coach I am to our SPED teachers. So I'm excited about that. That's one strategy that we have implemented to move in the right direction. Another thing that I want to share with you is I want to go back to that access piece. If there are electronic pieces to the curriculum that ELA, math, science, social studies are using, get access to that, because that's your door. That's going to get you in the door with getting your students ahead of the game. Because if you can get in there as a provider and look at what they're doing, SLPs, you can pull a lot of vocabulary out of that ELA and math curriculum, a whole lot. Science and social studies too. I used to do that all the time in my small groups. What are you teaching next week? Well, I think we're doing blah, blah, blah. Okay, do you have spelling words? I'll work with them on their spelling words. I don't care what it is. Whatever I can do, if we have to pull them from tier 1, we need to be working on tier 1. Because guess what? They're missing it when you pull them out. How can you support it? If you're pulling them out, you better be supporting it. Get in the curriculum. Does that make sense? Okay. So we make sure everybody has access. I'll be honest with you. I have special educators that I told 3 years ago to get in the curriculum. They haven't done it. Do you think I'm happy with them? No, I'm not. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for that. Several things that we're involved in too in Tullahoma City. If you haven't heard already, the Department of Education has a strong initiative right now. It's called Acceleration for All. Raise your hand if you've heard of that. And what that is, it has everything to do with Gen Ed and SPED getting on the same page. If you haven't heard about that, it's coming. Hopefully today's presentation will help you already kind of be familiar with what they're going to present to you. It's a good thing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But it's a good thing, because if we're doing what's best for kids, that's what we've got to do. Everybody's got to get on the same page, okay? Another thing that we're doing is we participate in the Access for All Learning Network. Sounds a lot like the other initiative that I just mentioned. It's different. It is a special education grant. It used to be called SPED. Have you heard of SPED before? So SPED is now Access for All Learning Network. It's very similar. It's an access grant. It's all about access for all. Your district can get quite a bit of money if they participate in that. So I'm just trying to share with you some things that if you're not in, if you're an administrator, might be something you want to look into and ask your core rep at TDOE about it. Another thing that we do is we have a very strong mentor-mentee program in Tullahoma City for special education. Anytime we have a new special education teacher, we pay for them to have a mentor. They invest off-contract time, and they talk about things. We have a handbook and everything that our SPED coordinator has written. They spend off-contract time talking about their students, Our SPED coordinator, whoever their mentor is, meets with them and they say, hey, have you gotten that access yet on that open SciEd curriculum? Did I say it right? Yes. Hey, have you gotten access on Benchmark yet? No, I don't know how. They walk them through it. You have to set people up for success, and I'm just trying to share some things with you that have really helped us. Well, where does the money come to pay for the mentor-mentee? Partnership grant is how we got that. Okay, that's another thing from TDOE. I talked about the instructional leadership team. Raise your hand if you've heard about the instructional practice guide. Okay, that's through that Acceleration for All initiative through TDOE. The instructional practice guide is basically what it says. It's a guide for your instruction. A lot of districts have started out looking at that. If you don't know what that is, write it down. You can Google it, look at TDOE, just type in TDOE, Instructional Practice Guide, and go and look at that. It's on Best for All. Yes, that's correct. But it kind of gives you guidelines. It would be a great starting point for you to get with your gen ed teachers, SPED staff. SPED staff, it would also be good for you to get with gen ed because we have things that we can shore up in our teaching. And it's just a guide for good teaching, okay? Another thing that we're involved in, I'm going to tell you two more things and then I'm going to hush. Another thing that we're involved in is we have a grant that I was telling you our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment got us involved in. It is through the National Institute of Excellence in Teaching. And we have a rep that comes and visits us from NIET, and she has really helped our instructional leadership team develop goals for what we need to help our students with. All of our principals are on this team, and really that's where it starts. If your admin doesn't have buy-in and collaboration and why every student is important and needs access to the gen ed curriculum, you can still do some things, okay? Don't blame it all on your admin because you can still do some things at your school. Right, Montgomery County? You can, you're doing it. And honestly, we have one school that's a lot more inclusive and collaborative than some of the others, but we're making strides. And that's the important thing. We're getting better. And I'm very proud to stand up here and tell you, I work in Tullahoma City Schools and we're moving in the right direction. But it does start at the top. You have to have somebody pushing you and challenging you. But you know what? You can challenge each other. We can make each other better. Okay, on the sticky note, here's what I need. You're not going to walk away with something today unless we've enlightened you while you've been here. So the plan is write down, take 3 sticky notes, write down 1 strategy on each note that you're already doing or that you want to be able to remember from today. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the responses, we're going to combine them into 1 sheet, and then that's going to be emailed back to you. I think we can do that. I think they said we could do that. I hope we can. So that's the plan. So think about 3 things maybe you learned today, or maybe it was something that wasn't said out loud that you want to share with your colleagues that are here, because we want to get a 1-pager with things people are doing. So when you get that finished, there's 1 sticky note over here with strategies on it. There's another one over here. Just put your sticky notes on those for us, please. And now I think we move into Q&A.
As a science teacher, when in your day did you find the time to meet with the EAs?
Our EAs are tied up all day. They do have about half an hour during 8th grade planning where we can go in the room with them and have a conversation. A lot of it happens through text and email.
That's another thing. I'm really glad you brought that up because I thought the time question is going to come up, right? So we all struggle with that time. Well, when do you expect us to get everybody in the same room? Well, guess what? You don't have to. You don't have to. How much can be done on a Google Doc or whatever system that you use in your district? Like we're using Google Docs. I have one principal I'm working with right now. It's that one school that I was telling you. She's very competitive. She wants to be number 1. Her school is usually number 1 every year on TCAP, iReady. They're strong academically. But guess what? They also have like the highest socioeconomics of our entire district. So they have a lot of advantages, but she's fired up and she's very proud. And I'm trying to talk with her on getting her teachers to put their lesson plans in a Google Drive folder and just give the SPED teachers access to that. Like, how hard is that? That would be one simple, easy way where we know what's coming. We have a question over here.
I was just going to add the comment. That's one thing that our district has done, or our school has done. All of our, so I came from a high school and now I'm in elementary, and I did 1 year in middle. So I'm very lucky that I've gotten to see all the gamuts. But in our elementary school, we do have the Google Educational Suite. So they've actually created like a Google site or a hub. So all of our lesson plans are uploaded and available for all teachers to access. So special populations, our SLPs, everybody is able to see every teacher's lesson plan, which helps because if you are a 4th grade case manager, but you don't get into that 4th grade general education classroom, you're still able to kind of see what it is that they're doing so that you can really help the students as most as possible.
I love that. Thank you. Please make sure you write that down on a sticky so that we capture that too. Thank you for sharing that. Did you have something?
Oh, can y'all hear me? Okay, I couldn't hear myself for a second. So my question was, I really appreciated the video. I'm going to be a first-year teacher. I did my student teaching, and I'm not sure if it was specifically because I was a student teacher or what, but I guess my question is like, how do you get like a good ebb and flow with like your gen ed teacher and figuring out, okay, when is it appropriate for me to jump in and like address the class, or am I only just like going group to group and analyzing what they're doing and trying to guide their questions? You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's a practical answer for that, but yeah.
I'm really glad you brought that up too, because really the ideal situation would be co-teaching, right? We actually wrote that into a partnership grant in our district a few years ago. We had 2 teachers that were interested. They did a great job. And actually, I have seen 2 special ed teachers last year in middle school who it was just seamless. I mean, like the SPED teacher used to be a middle school math teacher. And I mean, I knew the regular ed math teacher because we used to work together at the same school. And knowing that teacher, she's okay with it. But she was clearly confident in our SPED teacher getting up on the smart board or Mimeo, whatever it's called now, and she just took over. But go back to what I said at the beginning. What do we have to have first? Rapport, relationships. So tons of people have more experience than I do in education, but my message to you as a first-year teacher is get to know those teachers. Like, that's step 1. Because if they don't trust you, forget it. But clearly it seems like you have the personality to understand that, you know, and read that with them and just go to them and say, hey, I'm fired up about this. I'm excited. What can I do to support you? Like, that's a less invasive way to kind of start that conversation. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. I think I like have this thing that most new teachers have where it's like, I'm going to change the world and do all this stuff. But I think it's like being humble too, and like recognizing the teachers I'm working with, they'll let me in as they trust me more and stuff. So yeah.
I mean, I'm impressed that you're a first-year teacher and you're engaging in the conversation today. I mean, I think that's awesome. She wanted to add something to your comment and your question.
One thing that I find we as gen ed teachers fail on is communicating to our SPED teachers, this is what I need you to do. And I try to be cognizant of that going into a lesson and going to my EA and saying, okay, this is what we're doing. Can you do X, Y, and Z? And then if they need my support to do that, jump in and do it. But we're notoriously bad about that in gen ed. We have to do better at communicating the expectation.
Got one up here.
Just from my understanding, are the EAs and special ed teachers that come into your classrooms, are they the ones there all day long, or do you have different people coming in at different times? Because where I work with our inclusion, we're going into different classes and we're there a whole of 25, 30 minutes.
Do you want to take
Ours rotate in throughout the day.
Does that answer your question? So they have a team of SPED providers at that school. That school has a higher population than our other middle school because it's a bigger building. It houses our 2 classrooms of highly modified instruction. So they have a very diverse population at that building. But they have 2 interventionist teachers who are overseeing all of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then each of those interventionist teachers also have 1 EA or 2 EAs. My mind is, there's at least 1 EA.
I think there's 1 for each grade.
And then of course the EAs in the highly modified, which we used to call CDC class, of course they're assigned to help in that class all day. And then I forgot about behavior mod. They also have a behavior modification classroom there. Is that helpful? Okay.
I would suggest to get involved. So when you go into that classroom, you're just not labeled oh, she's just here, or he's just here for special ed students. I think that because that becomes a stigmatism towards our students as well. So get involved. I was a cheer coach for a little while, and it helped because when I went in, it wasn't just, oh, she's that teacher, you know, and our kids would ask questions at that point. So I think that's another important factor, is to be involved within your school and your community.
I'm glad you said that too, because when you were kind of sharing what you were sharing earlier and asking your question, it made me really think about the culture of our schools, because in our district, just like any other district, this school has this culture, and the admin can be totally different from each other. Like at one school, at the school that excels academically so much, we have the yin and the yang, and I'm like, how do they not kill each other? You know, but it works, like they balance each other. Does that make sense? So you've got to be cognizant of the culture of the school. Yes?
So I went from gen ed to SPED, and Holly and I did a team teach situation. So I was the gen ed math teacher, and she was the SPED teacher coming in. And she did the same thing that you just said. And the way that I addressed it was, this is Miss Harms. She just comes in to help us. And nobody ever knew that Miss Harms had her special friends that she came in. Miss Harms just came in and she helped us. She just helped everybody, and she literally did. We team taught together, and it was fabulous. It was wonderful. But to talk to our new teacher over there, it is a relationship that you build with each other too. And the kids pick up on that too, that they know they can ask her, they can ask me. It's us together, like this is our classroom. But that falls on the gen ed teacher too, that the gen ed teacher has to be open to, this is not just my room and my castle and I'm the queen or the king and the whatever. So that is on the gen ed teacher, but you do have to build that relationship as, this is our classroom. We're teaching this together. I also was very open with, here's my curriculum. Have this. This is what we're teaching. Have any ideas? You have to do that or it's not going to work. And our kiddos were super successful. They grew a ton. But it's a relationship. It all goes back to communication and relationship. And the kids literally never knew. Never knew. It's just she comes in and she helps us, all of us. And it was wonderful.
That's the ideal situation. And thank you for coming over to SPED after being gen ed. We need you. So thank you for that. I think we can take one more question, and then I think we're going to be at time. Well, I want to thank y'all. Y'all have been awesome as an audience, and I hope that this was fun and a little bit interactive and that you can take something away today. Did you want to share anything else?
To go back to what you're saying about the relationship between the gen ed and SPED, I know I'm not addressing gen ed teachers. Sometimes we have to be reminded that we teach all the kids and that your kids are not just your kids, they're our kids too. And sometimes you have to stand up and say that, because unfortunately there are gen ed teachers who don't think those kids should be in their classrooms. So sometimes you just have to say, look, you got to teach this kid. You got to find a way to do it.
Thank y'all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
It's great. Dr. Wilkerson and Ms. Munsey, this was great. Thank you so much. You know, first of all, we had the Bach lesson where it really felt like a classroom, and then we saw the classroom. So this was really wonderful. I do want to say to our new teacher here, you can change the world one child at a time, because you can make a difference in that child's day, that child's year, and that child's world. So you can change the world.